ESPN and Major League Baseball have decided to get divorced after 35 years. 1990 was the first year of at least Sunday Night Baseball. I don't know
Yeah.
what else they had at that time, but I
The
remember
good old
1990.
days. The
You and
good
I
old
remember.
days.
Yeah,
Joe
I was still in.
Morgan and
Was it
John
John Miller?
John Miller. Oh my
Were
God.
they were the original crew?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
they were there for
because
20 years probably.
the ABC crew before it moved to ESPN used to be L. Michaels and
Oh wow.
I think
That was back in the.
Cosell may
Oh,
have
you know
done it
what?
a little bit
I
too.
know Al Michaels was involved because you hear the famous '89 World Series earthquake. He's on the air when the earthquake hits in San Francisco.
Right.
So this would have been a year after that. That's amazing. That really puts it in perspective how fucking long they've been in bed together.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. As media conglomerates got consumed, they got even more incestual with the relationship. But
Yeah. So it's interesting how this has played out. It has come to be known that Major League Baseball opted out of their deal, while Rob Manfred wants you to believe that Major League Baseball didn't like ESPN anymore because they weren't giving them enough coverage. It just played out like a junior high romance that fell apart the way Manfred played it. You didn't break up with me. I broke up with you.
no, you
Um,
didn't.
the obvious parts of this is that Rob Manfred himself and the deals that Major League Baseball have made subsequently have diminished the value of their own product and have caused this divorce. If you think about it, ESPN has been paying $550 million a year. It's scheduled to for the next 3 years. They are finishing that deal after this year. So Major League Baseball is missing out on $1.1 billion over the next 2 years after this. Mainly because Rob Manfred has been selling off pieces of their media rights deal for pennies on the dollar. And not only are they pissing off their own fans by forcing us to get like Apple TV Plus to get Friday night games or to get the ridiculous Roku
Oh God.
Sunday brunch games at like 10 or 11 a.m. Um,
Were those
there's
Peacock too? Didn't they have some on Peacock like that?
Yeah, I don't have the stats on that. I do know that Apple paid $85 million is all for per year for their Friday night games, which ends up being like 30 games maybe, I
The
think.
coverage is shit too.
Yeah, I've never been a fan. I have seen a couple of the games. I also am annoyed, and most fans are, that you have to pay for another streaming platform, even though I am a MLB at Bat subscriber to get all the games, which definitely has a heavy asterisk after that because I don't get all the games for the $150 I pay per year because I also have to subscribe to these other services. I forget the amount that they got from. Oh, Roku is only $10 million per year for the one Sun. I think they don't do the full season. It's like
No, they
a
don't.
select number of maybe 15 games. But ESPN is looking at it like, why are we paying $550 million to have Sunday Night Baseball and a couple other games? And granted, playoff rights. They do the first couple rounds of the playoffs. But it feels like these nickel and dime deals that Manfred's been pulling off with Roku and Apple TV have diminished the value of the product. And it's like, why would we keep doing this? I have seen interesting comments from owners. I forget the funniest comment was they're just so overconfident about this that they're going to be able to sell what ESPN has just given up for much more money. They were calling it a non-issue. It's like, oh, no big deal. We don't give a fuck about ESPN. But granted, ESPN has kind of lost its luster over the years. I used to be, I mean, Christ, throughout the 90s, you'd have it on ESPN. You'd have your TV on ESPN all day long. You'd want to watch SportsCenter in the morning. It would have baseball coverage all the time. They had all the great sports. I don't find myself watching ESPN nearly as much as I used to. I don't know if you do, but ESPN is I think is taking a step back. And granted, they've also kind of stepped back their baseball coverage in favor of the NBA and NFL because that's what most people want to hear. There's more NFL fans and NBA fans apparently than baseball fans. that doesn't do me any good because I don't give a fuck about the NBA, and I've get plenty of NFL news throughout the fall. I don't need it year round. So it's going to be interesting to see where baseball goes with this. I mean, they do have a huge opportunity now with all this inventory that they could sell to Amazon Prime. That might be one place they go. They could go to Netflix, who's dying to get deeper into live sports coverage. I don't know. Do you have any theories about what they might do next?
They could walk right over to Fox. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. I
I
think
think
this is
Fox is paying $700 million a year for their coverage, which also includes the World Series. So,
I think ESPN is going to regret this. And I heard a rumor that
mm.
ESPN is acting like this because they are losing money on the NBA contract they signed because the NBA
Oh,
is in a all-time low of entertainment value in regards to people not.
can't be all time low because the '70s were
Yeah,
the
not
game
at all.
almost
I mean,
died. But
in recent years, it's at a
okay, yeah,
low. It's at a
because of three
low
pointers and nothing else.
of people are it's just not entertaining enough for fans at this point.
I don't
And
watch the NBA. I don't know. You probably watch a little more Bulls than I've watched Pistons over years, but I I
not
know what
much, but yeah.
I at least I'm aware of what's happened. The NBA's popularity had skyrocketed, um, but the game has changed because the math took over, where it's just more
Right.
efficient to take 3 pointers than it is anything else. So it just became a 3 point shooting contest, which I could see how their market would get annoyed with that eventually. So that's interesting. I hadn't heard that they're losing the value that this decision with Major League Baseball would be driven by their what they're not getting from the NBA.
Yeah, so I if you take that and then you got this as MLB also could look at this as the Sunday Night Baseball move to the MLB network. I mean, that's a lot of money that they just get to fucking keep with the amount
Well,
of advertising they'll be able
they
to
get
sell.
advertising, but they don't get a separate entity just giving them millions and billions of dollars just off the bat just for the privilege of hosting it. So that's kind of what the Cubs in a smaller scale have run into, where they don't have a cable deal; they have their own TV network. Well, that's all fine and good if they're raking in tons of advertising dollars, but they're not getting paid. They're not just getting a check every year from their cable provider partner. So it's kind of a mixed bag in that regard. Ironically enough, the Cubs marquee network is not on local Comcast once again as of today. They might work out a deal before opening day, but they're running into the same problems. Same with Chicago Sports Network. That is not on Xfinity again. So it's getting there. I feel like even if baseball, Major League Baseball gets a better deal out of this, or somehow we will be able to define this. If they get less than $550 million a year than they were getting from ESPN from whoever they sell this, or if they sell this in pieces to, we will know there's a winner and loser in this. I feel like they're losing no matter what because they're pissing off their fans mainly because they're not going to be on cable most likely. There are fewer and fewer people that have cable, but it's becoming harder and harder to consume their product. You have to sign up for more and more services. The way they solve this, at least for me and for hardcore baseball users like us, is all the games need to be part of their MLB at bat package. Like they've said all along, get all the games for $150. So
Right.
I don't give a fuck if it's on ESPN. I don't give a fuck if it's on Roku or anywhere else. I paid up front to have all the games. So just give me all the games. So if that's where this ends up, then it's a win for the fans at least. But I haven't heard any speculation that they're actually going to do the right thing by the hardcore fans. I don't know if you have heard anything about
No,
that either.
no, no. I haven't heard anything like that. But when you look at MLB, they're not really any different than what the NFL's done too. They're on Fox, they're on CBS, they have Netflix games, they have Prime games. So they've sold
Yeah,
off all their pieces too, and they only are doing it for 17 weeks. So there's a lot more baseball to be able to consume than there is of football.
yeah.
And you know, I'm not defending Manfred, but I'm also like in their position. But I'm defending baseball's position in that they keep making more money every year, so there must be a demand for the product that is
Mm.
increasing. So,
Yeah,
um,
record profits again,
yes,
12.1 billion dollars this year,
yeah. So
and yet payrolls 22 22 major league payrolls have gone down this offseason compared to last year.
here's one of
But they're
them right
making
here.
yeah, they're making record profits and yet they're spending less money.
Yeah. Well, that's how you make record profits. You spend less money and just keep bringing the dollars in. But
Well, I'm sorry, yeah,
um,
record revenues, let alone
yeah,
profits. So
yeah. So
I don't know.
anyway,
I can't take Major League Baseball side, but I appreciate your efforts to see both sides of it.
yeah, I again, I think ESPN. I mean, I'm curious to see what's going to be on.
Yeah.
Nothing I'm going to watch on Sunday night.
Well, that deal does continue through the end of this year, so we do have
No,
Sunday night
I know
baseball.
that. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that. But I'm just
just want to
saying,
make sure
after
that
that,
yeah. Well,
USFL.
2020
I don't know.
2020 yeah, 2026 we'll see where that goes and we'll see if we even have a 2027 season. So,
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they pulled out
that
to
is definitely
wait.
why. That's definitely why all this is happening. All the business side of baseball is kind of nervously looking at 2027.
Word Hole Media.